Yeah. Okay. So we're on the bottom of Beis and Beis, and continuing Dini Avelos. Here it starts. We just mentioned earlier. I think the way that the Gemara flows into it is before we said about Kriya, renting one's garments. So it spoke about difference between other relatives and parents. That it says if he does it in privacy or he does it out in the public in front of everybody, and the Gemara spoke about a nasi. So after that, it spoke about the Chacham, Manasi, and Abezdin that Rashi brought down. That's what I was talking about. So the Gemara starts here on the first wide line, 3 lines from the bottom. The differences between these 3 levels. A Chacham is a wise man. Abezdin is the head of the Bezdin. And then there's a Nasi, who is on the whole Am Yisrael, it seems. Rashi says that a Chacham over here is also kind of a position. Doesn't just mean a Talmud Chacham. It means, Rashi says, the one who's appointed to answer questions. I don't know why it has to be like that. You might say the Chacham just means the Talmud Chacham, but that's what Pirush says over here, that it means a position called the Chacham. There might have been also in Sanhedrin something that was a position called the Chacham, but in the Gemara I wouldn't have seen it. So it starts over here on the third Al Chacham. So really the Gersa would be good Tanur Rabbanan, and I think that's what they say. The Rosh has a Gersa like that. Tanur Rabbanan is right here. And maybe the Tanur Rabbanan that it says afterwards, maybe that should be transferred to the beginning of the subject. So we came across this din of chalitza yesterday that we don't do nowadays, but chalitza would mean that a person who's in mourning, so he decides tearing his garment, renting his garment. Also, he takes his arm out of the sleeve, and it's a bare arm. So that nowadays is not customary. It's not considered a way of expressing grief, but then it was, and that was the halacha that is a din just like this din kriya, this din chalitza. And here it says the difference between the Chacham, the Abezdin, and the Nasi. The Chacham, he does it on his right side, his right arm, and the Abezdin, he would take out his left arm, and on the Nasi, both arms. And it doesn't talk about a parent over here. Maybe we'll get to it later. I don't remember if it talks about it. It says there's chalitza on a parent, like it says on top of the page. It says, I love Avimo choletz. I love Avimo choletz, but it doesn't say which side. Here on the bottom, it says that there's a difference between a Chacham, a Bezdin, and a Nasi, a Chacham on the right, a Bezdin on the left, and a Nasi on both. I don't know the significance of the right and the left. As we're going to see soon, the Nasi, the Bezdin is a bigger level than the Chacham. We'll see right away. So it is interesting that it will sound like the left is more of an expression of grief than the right. I don't know why. Maybe. Tanur Rabbanan. Oh, so or Tanur Rabbanan said it before already. The next point in the Bryce is about.
It's the same spelling as the other chalitza?
Yeah, same thing. The word chalitza, chalas, means to remove. So there could be talking about removing a shoe. Here it talks about removing the clothing, removing the sleeve. Same idea probably. So Tanur Rabbanan, in the middle of the Bryce, yes?
Is there anything from Tznius? Rashi says on top, first Rashi, Ratza Choletz, Keseifan. So like you said, the shoulder, but isn't that an image from Tznius?
It's a way of showing that he's not mechubad. It's not a question of sneers. It's a question of being mechubad. Like it's not mechubad to go with a bare shoulder. So, but in grief, so then that is the way to express that he's mevuzeh. A person is in a matzav of bizayon when he's in grief. You could say that to tear one's begadim also is going to be the same thing. When a Rav tears his clothing. And
I don't understand why is it bad? It wasn't mevuzeh, it's tsar. Why mevuzeh?
I think that it's also an expression that we're missing and we're nothing. And
why are you nothing? We got it.
The fact that he's missing the relative. There's maybe I'm wrong in what I'm saying. I hear okay. What's behind the expression of chalitzas kasef? That's the question that's being raised. Okay. Next point talks about that on these 3 people, the Chacham or the Abezdin or the Nasi, there's also an issue about closing down the Beis Medrash or the Shul. That's going to be the next subject. A Chacham, Rashi says again that it means a certain position that he answers questions. So I'm just suggesting it might have meant the Pashup Shot that it means a Talmud Chacham. So his Beis Medrash is batal. Means they close his Beis Medrash. During the Shiva, his Beis Medrash is closed. They stop learning. Of course, they're allowed to learn. It's not easy to learn, but they shouldn't learn in the Beis Medrash. They go, like it says in Shulchan Aruch, they learn with chavrusa, whatever, they pair up and they learn in privacy. But the Beis Medrash is closed. There's a way of showing that he's missing. Bezin Shemay is called Batei Midrash Sibiru Batel, and the whole city closes down the Batei Midrash. And how about the basic Knesset? When the Chlas in the basic Knesset, so Mishana is Mekom and the Yoshim B'Sofon, Yoshim B'Dom, Yoshim B'Dom, Yoshim B'Sofon. They do go to the shul still, but everyone changes their seats. Those who sit on the northern side, they sit on the southern northern, they change places. That's a kind of a golus kind of a thing that they also they're not in their place. They feel that they're expressing the fact that the Bezdin died, so everything is off. And the Nasi Shemay is then, but the Midrash is cool, but the whole Am Yisrael closes down the base Midrash. We don't have these positions nowadays. I don't know if it translates to any other kind of a position. We don't have a Nasi nowadays. Is there somebody that's like over a whole Am Yisrael? So if that would be such a case, so then all the Batei Midrash is closed down. How about the shuls? But Bnei Knesset, the first on the base of Knesset, the Korin Shiva v'Yotzin, that the people of the shul means Bnei Knesset. I guess the people who go to the shul, they come to the base of Knesset, but they're not for davening. Davening, they daven at home. Rashi says that the davening itself they're going to do. Where's the Rashi? Rashi says they only read this. They only come in to read the Sefer Torah, and the rest of the tefillah they do at home. So they only open up the shul just for Kriyas Torah. It's interesting that it says Shiva. Current Shiva means 7 aliyahs. That means even on Shabbos. That you think that on Shabbos everything is normal and you don't do Avelos for Shabbos. But here it says that even on Shabbos also they don't come to shul. They just come in for Kriyas Torah, and also on Mondays and Thursdays they'll come in for Kriyas Torah. The poskim say, but they don't daven over there. And even on Shabbos, it's a public thing. The shul is closed. Everybody davens at home and just creates the Torah. They daven. They come in for the shul. Some of it gives daven, either domen or daven. That when we say that they don't come to the shul, doesn't mean they go for a walk. Doesn't mean that they relax. It means that they should be sitting and domen. Domen means to be quiet. And daven would mean sadness, that it's a way of expressing avelos, not to come to the shul. It doesn't mean not to come to the shul, not to come to the Beis Medrash, but not to use that time and to take a walk. It means to be engrossed in the morning. So that's over. About Chacham and Bezdin and Nasi, we had two differences.
You're not supposed to go on Shabbos.
So you're right. It could be that point is not going on Shabbos already. You're right. The whole everything we spoke about is not after Shabbos. This last point that it said Shiva, so we're saying even on Shabbos also they don't have the shul open. The only thing is that very surprising that even though it's a public expression of mourning, that's what they do. They don't come to the shul.
Yeah.
There is going to be the subject today. Number base is going to talk about Avelis for Shabbos or not, and it's going to go on to tomorrow, so we won't finish it today. But that's the question: if Avelis applies on Shabbos. So far, there's also one thing that this thing of closing the shul when the Nasi dies applies also to Shabbos. The next halacha doesn't have to do with the Nasi. This is where going to regular din of Beis Ha'evel. Vein omrim shmua v'gadav b'Beis Ha'evel. Amru lav Rav Hanani ben Gamliel shehaya omer shmua v'gadav b'Beis Ha'evel. Is learning Torah, shmua, gada. Shmua usually means Gemaras, things that are statements of a Rome, we call the Shmua. Agada means Agadata. So is it mutter to say it in the Beis Ha'evel? So the Tanna Kama says no, there's no learning in the Beis Ha'evel. Of course, the Avel himself is surely not allowed to learn. That said before that Avel Asa b'Talmud Torah. Here it talks about if it's said, it sounds like it's not him, but the people who come, the Menachem, did they say learning in this house of the Avel? So the whole Tanna Kama says the whole Beis Ha'evel there's no learning, not even other people. Rav Hanan ben Gamliel did. He did say Shmuel v'gadav b'Beis Ha'evel. So it's machlokas. Tanna Kama says no. Rav Hanan ben Gamliel says yes. He passed like Tanna Kama that there's no learning. It's very interesting how people, when they come to Menachem Avel, so it's very customary people learn Mishnayos. That's a very big chiddush. We pass they're not supposed to learn in the Beis Ha'evel. So they're going to say that it's Osios Neshama and it's Perek 7 of Meseches Mikvos that it says Nun Shin Mem Hey. But that's a big chiddush, and the Pasha says not to learn. And Menachem Tanchumen would mean that they say words of Nechama, but to have a seder of learning is a very big chiddush. I'm not saying yes, not. I'm not saying that's a chiddush to.
What about, I'm just thinking now, maybe you're allowed to learn my katan.
Yeah, surely that would be
Nice like cotton.
Yes. That things that have to do with Avelos is permissible. The moed katan that has to do with Avelos, probably not like Perek Elo Magalchan. This Perek is considered a Perek of
That we should
Avelos.
change the minute. Learn them Galchem by Beis Ha'evel.
So people don't. People want them neshama. They want nun shin mem hey. If they'd be mishnayis, they could somehow do it. Find out where the nun and the shin and if you could find something. But mikvah is also for Avel to learn because it has nothing to do with Avelos. It's a mikvah. But that's the custom, and I don't know. I'm just saying that the Pashas in the Gemara is mashma that it's also to learn, and even if the Avel is not going to listen, it's also pretty difficult that the Avel is listening also. Yeah, I was a
I
possible.
was following. It's a hard Mishnah.
And I don't know if anybody else is following either. It's better probably just to say Divrei Tanchumim. Okay. Tana Rabbana. Next halacha talks about going out, going to shul, and not only the first week, even the following weeks. That it sounds that it's I don't know. People. The custom. Let's start with the custom. The custom is that people when they come to shul, even after he comes to shul, he doesn't sit in his place. At least for shloshim, if on other relatives, and then on appearance, even for the whole year. But it doesn't say that. Tana Rabbanan, Avol Shabbos Rishon Yen Yosef Pesach Beisa, Shnia Yosef Ben Yosef B'Mkomo, Shlish Yosef B'Mkomo Ben Medaber, Revius Arei Kechol Adam. The first week he doesn't go out of his house; he's home. The Avol is home the first week. Second week he goes out of his house, but he doesn't sit in his regular place. The third week he sits in his regular place, but he doesn't speak. It doesn't mean okay. No one should speak in shul. It's not the table, but wherever he's allowed to speak. He doesn't speak, he's quiet. That's an expression of his mourning. And the fourth week, then he's ready like everybody else. So here it says, as far as sitting in his place, it only says that he doesn't sit in his place for the second week. And the third week, he's already sitting. The first week, he's at home. Second week, he doesn't sit in his place. And after that, he really does sit in his place. So the custom is not to sit in the place for novel the 30 days or the Yud Beis Chodesh. As far I think 30 days also. The custom is even different relatives. I don't know. But by a parent, the custom is all year. I didn't see it inside yet. That seems to be the custom. The Gemara says it for 2 weeks. And also it says on the next week, even if he sits in his place, he doesn't speak with people around him. Or some say he doesn't speak in public. And Rabbi Yehuda says, and then the fourth week he's already like everybody else. He's in his place, he's talking. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda is going to say the same thing. Just he's going to say everything is pushed off 1 week. He says when it says 1, 2, 3, there are 3 weeks of different levels of mourning. That's talking about after the first week of Shiva. When they said that the first week that he doesn't go out, it doesn't mean the first week of Shiva, because of course that's without saying. He's home, people are coming to be menachem him, so that is not a chiddush that he doesn't go out of his house. So these 3 levels is talking about after the first week. So he's going to say like this. Ella, Shnia in Yosef mi Pesach Beiso, Shlish Yosef ben Yosef ben Komo, Revius Yosef ben Komo ben Medaber, Chamish Zavei Kechol Adam. He says the same thing, just he pushes it off a week. So he says the first week is surely home with Shiva and Nicham Avelim. After that, it goes the next 3 weeks is going to be that the second week he's not going to sit in his place. The third week he's not going to talk, even though he's sitting in his place. The fourth, did I say it right? Second, third, the fourth. I'll start again. The first week he's in Shiva, that's nothing to talk about. The second week, he doesn't go out of his house. The third week, he doesn't sit in his place. And the fourth week, he doesn't talk. And the fifth week, he's like Kol Adam. That's the end of the bride. So we finish the subject. Just to point out that the custom is not to sit maybe even in his place for longer, but those other halachas about not speaking, some say not speaking to the people around him, some say not to speak in public. So l'chora that shouldn't be more makel than the Gemara. Tana Rabbanan now talks about getting married. When is Aval allowed to get married? So Tana Rabbanan, Kol Shloshim Yom Lenasuin. For 30 days, he's not allowed to get married. The poskim here say that it doesn't say about parent is different. It doesn't say parent is Yud Beis Chodesh. So I think I got it right, that there's no halacha that an Aval shouldn't get married for 12 months. An Aval's allowed to get married after 30 days, even if he's Aval on a parent. But by a wife, it's different. If his wife died and he wants to be married, that when his wife dies, he should not marry again until after 3 Yom Tovim pass by.
It's very interesting because for someone's parents, they then aval the whole year, and for the wife it's only 30 days. On the other hand, over here it's
only by marriage, right? Only by marriage is a difference between a wife and other relatives. That comes even more common.
It's interesting that it's more common than the parents. Okay.
Does anybody say that? I don't know if Rashi doesn't say the reason. What could be the reason that by wife it's more? They talk about
because it would be
maybe a peer.
Not nice. I mean, the guy loses his wife, and 30 days later he gets married. I mean, everybody would say, well,
but does that have something? Okay, I hear. Does that have something to do? He's saying the fact that it's his wife, and now another wife. That's the reason why. Does it have anything to do with the regalim? Can you think of any connection between the Yom Tovim? Why is the share to wait Yom Tovim? He argues and he says, not 3 regalim, 2 regalim. It could come out 2 regalim is 50 days.
Surely wants to say about why is the year, because they want you to go to a whole year every day to be in the same position. That means they want you to go each yom that you don't have whatever. And for the whole year, when you lose your parents, it's you're going through every regal without them and every day without them.
A whole
So
cycle.
it's a whole cycle that every day for a whole year that you're
Okay, that's a
you're-
thought.
you're
I don't-
living
It's a
without
thought, but I
them.
don't know if that's inherently,
that's
just to
what
point out that the same Seder that there is by Avelus is also by Simcha, that by getting married also by Avelus is the first day is something very chamor, and then there's 3 days, 7 days, 30 days, a year. The same Seder also goes by happiness. A person gets married also, the first day is the main Simcha, that is 3 days, sometimes there's 3 days, depends on such situations, 7 days, and then 30, and then 12, the same Seder. So whatever you're going to say over there, I think that is something that's B'etzem and these different storm, not Dafka is one point of it.
Okay.
But okay. So this is now the halacha about getting married. So we said that in general, it's 30 days for all relatives, also for parents. That's what it's mashma. For a wife, if a wife dies, so you should not remarry until 3 regalim. Abuda says 2, a person like Katan Kama, 3 regalim. And in that there are 2 atayim to get married even within Shloshim. If he doesn't have children, so then he's allowed to marry the altar. The Pasha says he's allowed to mamash marry in order, like I said, so he's going to be able to reproduce. So that means that he's mamash marrying within 30 days even. And also, if he has young children from his first wife and he can't take care of them, so then also he's allowed to marry in order to take care of them. The word parnasasan is not the way we use the way nowadays. Parnasa means money. He's not marrying the wife in order to get money because he has the money, but he has to work for it. But the point is that the word parnasa means to take care. To what is the word? The good word for parnasa would not be sustenance. The word parnasa means we use it in that sense only, but the Gemara uses it in all kinds of senses. Even when you have a kasha, and I see 2 kashas, and you answered 1 kasha, it's called you were mafarnis one, but you weren't mafarnis the other one. It means mafarnis means to take care of. So here it means that if he has young children that he can't take care of by himself, he needs a wife to take care of them. So he's also allowed to marry within 30 days. And it brings a story to support that. A story that Yosef HaKohen, his wife died, and in the cemetery, right after they buried his wife, he told his sister-in-law that she should marry him in order to be able to take care of her nephews. So this is a halacha that because of the children need help, so then they permitted him to marry even within 30 days. The post can talk about, like I said, one more line. That even though he married her right away, but he didn't have relations until after 30 days. It could be that it's only a chomer that he did. The post can bring it down. Maybe that it's a good thing to do. If a person does have to do this, that he shouldn't have relations until after 30 days. The Pasha says that it's mutter also. Same way, like I said before, it'll appear review, but there we allow him to have relations also. So that's the end of that sugya. We spoke about marriage. The law is 30 days on a wife, 3 regalim, and heter to marry right away would be if he doesn't have children or that he has young children that have to be taken care of. The next halacha is about giyutz. Nowadays, the word giyutz means the ironing. That's the modern Hebrew word for giyutz. I don't know if that's so simple. It could be the other, but it means a good cleaning, some kind of professional cleaning or good cleaning, maybe ironing. I'm not saying that, but we have the Gemara in Tainus over there talks about giyutz shalom, giyutz shalom. Over there, it talks about giyutz. Giyutz is some kind of cleaning more than what we call laundering. We had the sugi before that laundering. Terbo says is also during Shiva, and now giyutz is going to be also for Shloshim. It's not also to wash clothing all 30 days. It's also giyutz for 30 days. The 2 halachas we had about we talk about Shloshim is giyutz for Tisporas. Giyutz is over here. Tisporas was yesterday's daf that it said the haircut is also for 30 days. Over there it says that if it's on a parent, then it's until his friends tell him that it's enough, too much already. But here we're going into the sugi of giyutz. How long is he not allowed to wear giyutz? So the Gemara is going to say right away what that means. Machlokas over here. Tanakama says he's not allowed to wear new clothing for 30 days, and he can't wear even old clothing which have been pressed. The word michbash is like a press, so even pressed ironed clothing also is also for 30 days. It means as far as wearing laundered clothing, you'll be mutter after Shiva. But it's also that it should be ironed or pressed or professionally pressed, whatever that means. And Rabbi Yomer lo osrel kelim chadashim b'lvad. No, he argues. He says only also to wear new clothing. Not if it's old clothing, even though it's pressed, it's still mutter. That's what meguyatz means. Giyutz means new clothing. Only if it's both new and white. Two conditions in order to be aser. So it seems that's the halacha. That would mean that it's only aser during Shloshim to wear new white clothing. If it would be not white, it will be mutter, and if it will be not new, it will be mutter, even if it's pressed. Abai nafik regarded the sabala, kirebi, Rav nafik v'chimutzta rumisa, sumkasa, chanati, kirebi Elazar Rab Shimon. Abaye held like Rebbe, and therefore he was not makpid to go with something which was old and pressed. The garda of the sabala, I don't know what it means. Sabala is a coat. Garda, I'm not sure, but the point is that he held, according to Tanakam, also because it was old and pressed. But Abaye did not hold like that. He held like Rebbe that it's only also if it's new, and this was not new. And Rebbe was even more makel because he held like Abulazar Reb Shimon that it's only also if it has two conditions, chadashim lavanim, and this was not white. He some kind of a beged. Sumkas. The word sumkasa means red, even though it was new. Sumkasa charati. What is chimutzta rumisa? I don't know. Some kind of a beged. Rashi says chaluk that came from Rome, a Roman cloak. So he wore a Roman cloak that was new, but it was red. Why? Because it's only also if it's new and white, and this was new and red. So that seems to be the halacha, like Rabbi, that it's only also if it has both conditions, and it will be mutter to wear a old garment, even though it's been ironed. That's the end of that sugya. The next sugya goes back to the Mishnah that talks about Shabbos as versus Yontif. We said that Yontif terminates the Avelos, and Shabbos does not terminate, but it does count for the 7 days. It means that he doesn't do Avelos on Shabbos. We'll see. Well, doesn't say that yet. He says that Shabbos counts, but it doesn't terminate the Avelos. And now the Gemara is going to go into the question: is there Avelos on Shabbos? It just says in the Mishnah that Shabbos counts. It's in the count of the 7, Shabbos counts, and it doesn't terminate the Avelos. But now the Gemara is going to talk about: does he conduct himself in mourning on Shabbos? So that's the sugya now. It's going to start today. I think it's going to finish tomorrow. So we're not going to do everything, but we'll just. Bnei Yehuda, Bnei Glila, people of Yehuda. That's Yehuda is the south of Eretz Yisrael. Galil is the north of Eretz Yisrael. So the different minhagim, or different halachas, different shitas. Hani Yamri Yesh doesn't say who holds what, but Hani Yamri Yesh Avelos b'Shabbos. Hani Yamri and Avelos b'Shabbos. Now we're talking about does a person conduct himself in mourning on Shabbos? Some said yes, some said not. Two minhagim. He doesn't say who's what, which is which, but one of them did do Avelos on Shabbos, and one of them did not. How does it go in the Mishnah first? Mandam Yesh Avelos b'Shabbos, Tani Ola. Mandam Eid Avelos b'Shabbos, Tani Enim Apsekes, Isal Gedaitach Yesh Avelos b'Shabbos, Hash Avelos Naga, Avsukim Yibaya. So the Gemara is a diak on both sides. The one who says that there is Avelos does apply on Shabbos is because the Mishnah says that it's Ola, that it counts. If it counts, like it's not the Mefarshim explained here, not because the halacha that it's Ola, the fact that it counts must be that he's doing Avelos on Shabbos. The Gemara is mashma a couple of lines that wasn't the point. The point is that the words of the Mishnah are mashma that there's Avelos because else it should have used the words differently. Instead of saying Ola mean that it counts, it should have said that it should have said that it's in the count. It should have said something like Nimna, or it should have spoken out to Favorish that he doesn't have to conduct himself with Avelos even though it counts. There's something in the word over here. It says over here. But since it's below Piresh, since it says Ola and it doesn't specify that there's no he doesn't conduct himself with Avelos, so that's much that there is Avelos. Something in the words, not because of the halacha. It could be that it counts in the count of 7, even though he doesn't do anything. But the word is mashma that there is Avelos in Shabbos. Mandam ein Avelos for Shabbos is because it says Enim Apsekes, that it doesn't terminate the Avelos, and that goes without saying. Yisal Gedaitach Yesh Avelos for Shabbos, if he has to conduct himself in Avelos and Shabbos, it surely doesn't terminate. If the halacha would be that he has to conduct himself in the halachas of Avelos and Shabbos, that's much more stronger than saying that it's not terminated. So the Mishnah wouldn't have to say it doesn't get terminated. It even applies. If you would think, if it enters your mind that the halachas of Avelos apply in Shabbos, then surely doesn't terminate the Avelos. It wouldn't have to say it. The fact that it says it doesn't terminate, it means that's all that happens. It doesn't terminate the Avelos, but otherwise it does not apply. Avelos doesn't apply on Shabbos, but it doesn't terminate it. When Shabbos comes, he was oval, whatever, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now Shabbos comes, it doesn't get terminated, but it doesn't apply. He doesn't have to do Avelos on Shabbos. So far, we don't see any difference between what kind of Avelos. It just says in general, does Avelos apply on Shabbos or does it not? We'll take it simple. Maybe later on we'll get smarter. But so far it just says, Machlokes, does Avelos apply on Shabbos or not? Vela, the one now just asks on each one, what does each one do with the diak of the other? Vela ha ketani ola, and the one who says that it's Avelos does not apply. What does he do with the diak that it says ola? Before the Gemara said that the word ola would be mashma that it does not apply. I'm sorry.
It's counted.
Manda Amar Yeshav, that does apply. Manda that says that it's counted, he's much like that because it says, oh, I don't have a great understanding of it, so I'm trying to avoid explaining it, but I don't know. That before the Gemara said that the words Ola is mashma, that there is Avelus. And he's going to say now, to answer that, the one who argues is going to say that the word Ola is not so accurate. If you want to say, really he wants to say Ein Avelus, that doesn't apply. The reason why he said Ola, I did the Kabbalah Misni Sefer Einan Olam Tana Reisha Ola. The reason why he uses that word is only to be consistent with what he said in the contrast to Yantif. By Yantif it says Eina Ola, Mafsik Ve'ena Ola. So now it says Eina Mafsik Ve'ola. But the word is not so accurate because it is mashma. You would say that it is mashma, like you said before, that if it says Ola, it's mashma that Avelus does apply, real Avelus doesn't apply at all. And it should have been more specific. It doesn't say it because it's just keeping in line with the way it was expressed in the rest of the Mishnah. And not the Gemara said that it would be pshita that if there's no Avelus, then surely it's not mafsik. So that the Gemara said was a raya that in Avelus. It just says it because one will say that it uses the terminology of the other part of the Mishnah one way, or forwards or backwards, the ratio to the sefer, either because both of them is going to be because that's the way it said it in contrast to Yantif. So even though there's a diak that some part of the Mishnah is not meduyak, point either way, but each one will say that one is the main halacha, one is not. So far we're just holding that there's a machlokes if there's Avelus in Shabbos or not. The Mishnah has a mashmos both ways, and one of them is going to be lavdavka, so we're still holding about a machlokes. The Gemara says, Lema katanoi. The more things that it has a source that there's a machlokes tanom about this subject is the Avelus in Shabbos or not. This we had in Brochus. It says in the side Brochus 17. Misha Mesa Mutter Lefana. That's the beginning of the parak Misha Mesa. In that parak over there. So this is a brisa that the Gemara brings. Misha Mesa Mutter Lefana v'ochel b'bai sacher. Ein lo bai sacher ochel b'beis chavero. Ein lo beis chavero oso lo mechitza asarat fachim. Ein lo davar lasas mechitza machza pana v'ochel. If a person is a novel and his dead relatives in front of him, so he shouldn't eat in front. He's an onen. At this point, it wasn't buried, so it's not proper to eat in front of the dead. So he should go someplace else. If he doesn't have another house to go to, he should go another room to go, his own house or another room. Then he should go to a house of a friend. If he doesn't have such an opportunity, then he should at least make a partition to be able to eat on the other side of the partition, not next to the mace. If he doesn't have something to make him a mechitza with, he could at least turn around. Don't face the mace while he's eating. He should turn around and eat not facing him. Also, in a mace of ochel, when he's eating, now that he's an onen, he should not eat in a reclined position. He shouldn't eat comfortably. He has to eat because he has to eat. He's human, but not that he should do it in a comfortable way. So he shouldn't be mesev. Also, in ochel basa and shosayan, he shouldn't eat meat or drink wine because he's an onen. Aval is allowed to eat meat and drink wine, but during the oninus, it's not proper. He also doesn't say brachas. He's part of all the mitzvahs, so he doesn't say bracha. He doesn't say birchas hamazon. Also, no one's mostly him. No one's mostly him of bracha. He's an onen, so he's part of all the mitzvahs. The poskim say the first say the reason is because he should be busy with taking care of the relatives. So like osik mitzvah, so he's part of all mitzvahs in order that he shouldn't be distracted and held back from taking care of the needs to bury his relative. Now we're getting to Shabbos. We're on the search to find out if Avelus does Avelus on Shabbos or not. Here it says it was Shabbos. Mesav ochel, vochel basa, v'shos yayin, and mavorach u'mazamin, and mavorach u'mazamin alav, v'chayev, v'kriyashma, v'tfilo, v'tfilo, v'chol mitzvahs amuz b'torah. That here on Shabbos he is allowed to recline when he's eating and eats meat and wine. The point that not doing all the mitzvahs and not eating meat and wine is because he shouldn't be distracted from taking care of the mace. But on Shabbos, that anyway he can't do anything. There's no burial on Shabbos, so he doesn't have all of these limitations. And therefore, he's allowed to eat meat and drink wine, and also he's allowed to say brachas. He's chayv mitzvahs because he's not also a mitzvah now. He's not taking care of the burial, and he could say a bracha. He could be the mazamein. They could be mostly him, and he could be part of a zimun. And he's chayv in all mitzvahs. He's chayv in kriyash mat tefillah and all mitzvahs because he's not taking care of the mace. we don't yet see our subject. Is he conducting himself with Avelos? These things are not yet Avelos. These things are things that only Onin is Usher, and he's not Onin on Shabbos.
It's surprising to put in filling because that's.
Right, I'm sorry, very good. They take out this word because it's Shabbos. They take out this word because it's Shabbos. He's not wearing tefillin on Shabbos because it's Shabbos. Thank you. Good that you have that. These words are strange. It says that it's Shabbos. He doesn't have all of the. He doesn't have all these turim because he's not burying the dead. So he's chayv in all the mitzvahs. Rabbi Gamliel says since he's chayv in these, he's chayv in everything. Very, very strange. Why is he talking about? He's chayv in these mitzvahs, kriyash mat, tefillin, chol mitzvahs. He's chayv in everything. Very strange. What is he coming to say? Machlokes is he obligated to his marital relations? That usually he has the obligation of marriage to his wife. So does he have that obligation here? He's an Oneh and it's Shabbos. Tanakama says that he's chayv in mitzvahs, but the fact that he didn't say this, Rabbi Gamliel is arguing and said he's chayv more than that. He's chayv also in his obligations to his wife to have marital relations. So what's the issue over here? It's Shabbos, and Oval is not allowed to have relations during the Shiva. And the Gemara thinks that, as told you, I spoke about before, that since it's Shabbos, there's all the Avelos go down. There's no Avelos. If there's no Avelos, then he's mutter to have relations, and then he should have to have relations because of the obligations to his wife. But if it's Avelos is no on Shabbos, so then he's not allowed to have relations. Even the point about Kriyash Mat, Tefillin, and Avalas Chayv and all these things, just the owning is part of because he has to take care of the mace. Okay, but now Agav is talking about, is there an issue about obligations to his wife that has nothing to do with Aninus, but has to do with Shabbos. So here it says that Tanakama says, it means the Aval also would, whatever, that would be the Medina Avelos already. So here it has Machlokas over here, if this Onen, if he has to have relations with his wife on the Shabbos of the Aninus, the mace wasn't buried yet, so he's an Onen. And is he supposed to have relations with his wife?
Or the same kasha would be doing the shiva also.
Right, on Shabbos.
On Shabbos.
Right, mamish. That's what the Gemara thinks. The Gemara thinks that this machlokas happens to be talking about Aninus, but the Gemara thinks that it's the same machlokas on Shabbos. That if on Aninus we're going to say that since it's Shabbos he should have relations, so too on the weekday. That's what the Gemara thought.
And there's one Nakuda, why his wife is not Naval, and he has a chiyuv ksuba to his wife. So why isn't he chiyuv to
on a regular weekday? Or because he's in Avelis, he can't. If he can't, he can't.
She's obligated
We're
also.
just talking about Friday night. That it's a special
Right, because it's Shabbos. So that's the Gemara's issue that since it's Shabbos, that's the reason why he goes off this dinner by an One. So the Gemara thinks it also goes off on Shabbos also, and that's not much the question the Gemara spoke about in the beginning. Is there Avelos on Shabbos?
Right.
If there's Avelos, then he can't have relations. If there's no Avelos, he could have relations. So that's what the Gemara thinks. My love, welcome. Is this not the Machlokis? The Marsava Yesh Avelos for Shabbos. The one who says that he cannot have relations is because Avelos applies even on Shabbos. So Marsava ain't Avelos for Shabbos. That's what the Gemara thought. But now the Gemara is going to knock down the comparison on both directions. Mimai, who says? Maybe the reason why Tanakam says he should not have relations is because the fact that as an onen is more intense. The fact that he didn't bury the dead yet. Besides, till now we said that there's a mitzvah he's mechuyev to take care of the burial, so therefore it's a mitzvah. But besides that, there's also more intense grief. So maybe over there, the Tanakam is going to say that he should not have relations because he's an onen. But if it would be already after the burial, maybe also is masking that the Avelos goes off on Shabbos. Maybe here he also would agree that there's no Avelos on the Shabbos of the Shiva. But and the other direction also. Maybe Rabbi Gamliel over there only says that he does have relations because the Avelos didn't start. It means you look at it two ways. Is Avelos more intense or is the Aninus more intense? In general, we say that there's no Avelos during the Aninus. That's a question that we've shown him if the halachas of Avelos apply during the Aninus. The point we said so far was just things that deter him or distract him or hold him back from taking care of the mace. All the things about Kriyash Mat, Tefillin, saying brachas, eating meat, drinking wine, all these things would take him away from taking care of the needs of the burial. But there's another issue about the Dine Avelos, the things that are mourning, expressions of mourning, does it apply by Aninus also? Here the Gemara has two studim, if we're going to be more Mekel or more Machmer, that it could be that Aninus, as far as the grief, is more grief before the burial than after. So he could be, even if Aninus Avelos does not apply on Shabbos, maybe it does apply by Aninus. As far as not as far as the chiyuv to say a bracha, but there's no reason why he shouldn't say a bracha. He's not osif mitzvah. But as far as the grief, maybe over here he says that there's Avelos on the Aninus of Shabbos. and even if Avelus is not, maybe Aninus is more intense. Another way you might say that no, that the Halachas Avelus only is after the burial. That's when the Avelus starts. Before that is not an Avel. And maybe that's the reason why they were lenient, meaning there's no halacha that is usher in having relations on Shabbos of Daninus. But once it really starts the official 7 days of Avelus, maybe even Rabbi Gamliel will be masking that he's not allowed to have relations on Shabbos. So the Gemara thought that it had a machlokus tanam, and the Gemara came out to the bottom of the page that it's not dependent. You do have the machlokus over here. If the onen before the burial, if he's supposed to have relations on Shabbos, that's machlokus, but it's not comparable to our case about having relations on for the Avel during Shiva to have relations on Shabbos. So we don't know still. Means just to sum up the sugya, this whole page was all about Avelos and Shabbos. Again, the Mishnah says that it's Ola Ve'ena Mafsik as far as the count. So it goes into the cheshbon of the 7, but it doesn't terminate Avelos. The Gemara, in those words, Ola Ve'ena Mafsik, the Gemara had two possibilities in the Mishnah. If you could be medayik that there is Avelos and it's not Avelos, and there are two opinions about it, Yehuda and Golo, and everyone's going to say that each opinion will have to say that part of the Mishnah is not Meduyak. It was only Agav, the other part of the Mishnah. The Gemara found this machlokes. If there's an ninus, if an onen on Shabbos is allowed to, if he's allowed to, then he's supposed to have relations. And the Gemara says, but it's not necessarily dependent on our question about having relations or other kinds of avelos on Shabbos of avelos. So this is no proof. That's the end of that sugya. The Gemara, I mean, it's not the end. It continues tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow's daf, all about avelos and Shabbos. We'll see it tomorrow. Night, Be'ez Hashem. Just to go back to the previous sugya. What else did we learn today? About Chacham, Bezin, and Nasi as far as Chalitza Sakosef, on the right, the left, or both. And by as far as stopping the Beis Medrash, so it's going to be either his Beis Medrash, all the Bate Midrashas in the city, all the Bate Midrashas of Am Yisrael. And as far as going to the Beis HaKnesses, by Chacham it doesn't say anything. By the Bezdin it says they come to the shul, but they change their places. By the Nasi, they don't come to the shul at all, only for Kriyas HaTorah. We said even on Shabbos, that's a chiddush, and not that they go around enjoying and taking walks, but that they should be Yoshe V'domim, and that says that in the base of also in general that it shouldn't be a place of talking, just a place of being quiet and sadness. As far as learning in the base of Machlokes, we pass like Tanakama not to learn in the base of. And as far as getting into the shul again afterwards, so the first we pass like the Tanakama, the first week he doesn't go out of his house, which anyway is Shiva. And the poskim say that here it's not a question of the Shiva only. When it says Shabbos Rishon or Shabbos Shliya, Shabbos Shlish, has to do with the week, with the calendar week. That the Shabbos Rishon is over by the end. Of course, he's home the whole 7 days, but after that, the Shabbos Shliya is going to be until the next Shabbos. It doesn't go sets of 7, 7, 7, 7, but it means sets of the week. So the first week he doesn't go out of his house. That's going to flow into the next week after Shabbos. But then the next week until Shabbos, he doesn't sit in his place. The third week he doesn't talk, even though he's in his place. And the fourth week he's already regular. We'd add on one more week. We pass like Tanakama. Again, the minhag nowadays is that he doesn't sit in his place. I think the whole year, and on the other relatives 30 days. I'm not familiar. I don't know. And then the next halacha was about marriage. It's also to get married for 30 days. On a wife, he has to wait 3 regalim. Not like Rabbi Yehuda says only 2 regalim. And there are 2 exceptions if he doesn't have children, because he could get married right away. And also if he has young children that need to be attended to by a woman, so then he's also allowed to marry, and it brings such a story. Giyutz, which means not laundering clothing, that's mutter after Shiva. But the giyutz, Tanakama says new or ironed clothing. Rabbi says only new, and Rabbi Lazar Reb Shimon says only new and white, and that seems to be the halacha. And then comes the next sugya, which we just summed up, which was all about if there's avelos for Shabbos or not, and we're still in the middle of the sugya, to be continued tomorrow.
Exactly. So, just one question: Einain is now doesn't make a bracha. What about it says gezel? So each bracha is gezel.
But it's not gezel because it's not proper that he should. It's not the right place. Yeshkoach everybody. On Motzei Shabbos is 6:45 still good?
Yeah, I think this.
Okay, this more week still fast. Okay with everybody. So 6:45 daf yomi. Motzei Shabbos. Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Shabbos. Thank you.